Hello and welcome everyone. My name is the Upper Down, aka Tud, and today we will be continuing with Slay the Spire here. Last time we unlocked a new character, the Silent. Today we're going to play through as the Silent and see what they're all about. Exordium. Greetings. I am Meow. I brought you back. Okay, so every time you start a new playthrough and talk to Neo, he will give you an option to choose a benefit for your next play. So it looks like we get to choose between enemies in your next 3 combats having 1 health, or +7 to max HP. Now, most of the time, the first option isn't beneficial because the first 3 enemies you fight aren't bosses or mini-bosses, so they die rather quick anyway. I'm going to go with the max 7 HP here. Granted. Alright, so 4 pathways are open to us, 2 of which have a shop rather early on. See a couple of mini bosses we can fight if we go down the right side. Let's go for maximum fights here. Alright, so the Silent deals mostly in daggers as well as poison. The starting relic, Ring of the Snake. At the start of each combat, draw 2 additional cards. So your first turn, you have a chance to draw a beneficial card that might really help you out in a pinch. Alright, so 15 damage coming our way. If I play both of the defends, I won't have enough damage to defeat the enemy in the front. If I use 2 strikes, 1 defend, I'll still take 5 damage either way. So in this instance, I'm going to throw a strike. And we'll throw out another strike. Defend, and then neutralize, weaken. Now I'm only looking at 2 damage. Doesn't necessarily matter what I play here. I'll be able to out-defend his damage either way. Neutralize is always a good card, 0 cost, and reduces incoming damage. Strike. And all I have left are defense, so we'll just play those. 10 damage now. A weak potion to apply 3 turns worth of weak. A 0 cost backstab card. It is innate, so it will start in my hand at the beginning of combat. However, if I don't play it on my first turn, it will be exhausted until the end of the combat. I will not have access to it anymore in the combat. Dodge and roll, 1 cost. I get 4 block this turn and 4 block next turn. And Sneaky Strike. Deal 12 damage. If you have discarded a card this turn, you gain 2 extra mana. Definitely beneficial for this character's playthroughs. I think I'm gonna go with Backstab here. The 0 cost 11 damage is really hard to pass up. Alright, both of these enemies have Curl Up. Once they take damage, they will gain Block, equivalent to the number next to it. The first one will gain 6, the second one will gain 3. I'm going to put up a defend here. And I should have enough to take out the first one. Unfortunately, not enough damage to take him out in the second turn. Calculated gamble. Discard your hand, then draw that many cards. It costs 0, but it's a nice way to mulligan your hand if you need a new one. Reflex. This is an unplayable card. If this card is discarded from your hand, draw 2 cards. Nice if you're playing a discard. And a 0 cost Slice to deal 6 additional damage. I don't think we need that. Alright. A very high damage first hand this early on. Made short work of that enemy. 0 cost Escape Plan. Draw 1 card. If you draw a skill, gain 3 block. 1 cost Backflip. Gain 5 block and draw 2 cards. Or Caltrops. That is a power. Once you play it, it's active for the rest of the combat. Whenever you are attacked, deal 3 damage back. As low cost as that power is, I think it's worth picking that up. Alright, so we'll start off with Caltrops. I'm going to play a bit defensively here, draw a Survivor, so that I only take 2 damage, while dealing 3. Neutralize to weaken his damage. Ah, didn't notice that. Had 1 mana left. This will end the fight due to the 3 damage from my power. Swift Potion. Draw 3 cards. Skewer. It is an X cost card, meaning it spends all mana you currently have to deal 7 damage times X. Leg Sweep, 2 cost. likewise 2 weak and gives you 11 block. And again, dodge and roll. I think I'm going to pick up dodge and roll. It is very situational, but often comes in handy. Start this up on the backstab. I have to try to defeat him quickly because of his power. It'll keep giving him more strength. Essentially digging myself into a hole, but I think it'll pay off for me. Sneaky Strike. 2 cost. Deal 12 damage. If you discarded a card this turn, gain 2 mana. Heal Hook. Deal 5 damage. If the enemy has weak, gain 1 mana and draw a card. For a 0-cost slice. Looking back, I think I may have overlooked how important slice is going to be in this playthrough, so I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. Alright, first mini-boss. Let's go ahead and throw out a neutralize here, followed by a backstab. He's weakened my attack damage and my defense by 1. Regal Pillow. Whenever you rest, heal an additional 15 health. Colorless Potion. Choose one of 3 random colorless cards to add to your hand. It costs 0 this turn. Another Sneaky Strike. Reflect. 0 cost, gain 4 block. When Deadly Poison, apply 5 poison. I like the poison route. I feel like it's very effective. Gonna backstab the one in front. Get him out of the way first. And use neutralize on the one in the back. Piercing Wail. 1 cost. All enemies lose 6 strength this turn. And then the card is removed until the end of combat. Backflip. 5 block, draw 2 cards, and another deflect. Piercing Wail is very situational, but it's not a bad card. I think I'm gonna skip for now. Shining Light. You find a shimmering mass of light, encompassing the center of the room. Its warm glow and enchanting patterns invite you in. You can upgrade 2 random cards, but you would lose 15 health. Given our current health situation, I don't think we can afford to do that. You walk around it, wondering what could have been. We've received a frozen egg. Whenever you add a power card to your deck, upgrade it. Not a bad relic to have early on. I'm gonna prepare myself for next turn, because I know he's gonna try to hit me. Zero cost, gain 1 artifact. 0 cost, deal 7 damage. 0 cost. If you have no attacks in your hand, draw 2 cards. I'm gonna go with Swift Strike here for the extra damage. Ancient Tea Set. Whenever you enter a rest site, start the next combat with 2 mana. Poison Potion. Apply 6 poison. We have Alchemize here. Obtain a random potion. Slice. Deals 6 damage. And Deadly Poison. Apply 5 poison. I'm going to go with Alchemize here. I always like seeing what sort of random potions I might get. take out the slime in the back here first. Down to 1 health after this. Fire Potion. Deal 20 damage. Choke. Deal 12 damage. Whenever you play a card this turn, the enemy loses 3 health. Slice for 6 damage. And Dash. Gain 10 block and deal 10 damage. It's not a bad card to have. And the next boss. Well, unfortunately, I won't survive this no matter what I do, so optimize here. You are slain. You went the wrong way. Alright, we've unlocked a new character. We will explore more of his abilities in the next one. And same choices again. I'm going to again choose the additional 7 health. Always good when you can avoid taking damage early. 0 cost slice. Living Wall. As you come to a dead end and begin to turn around, walls slam down from the ceiling, trapping you. 3 faces materialize from the walls and speak. Forget what you know. Now let you go. I require change to see a new space. If you want to pass me, then you must grow. 3 options here. Forget, which removes a card from your deck. Change, which transforms a card in your deck into something else. Or grow, which upgrades a card in your deck. Most beneficial right now would be grow. Let us upgrade. If we upgrade slice, it will move up to 9 damage. If we upgrade neutralize, it becomes a 4 damage, 2 weak ability. Or survivor, it gains 3 additional block. I'm going to upgrade neutralize for that additional turn of weak. Satisfied, the walls in front of you merge back into the ceiling, leaving a path forward. Alright, so we're going to start off with a neutralize on the front. Sure. Deal 6 damage for each attack played this turn. Endless Agony. Deal 4 damage whenever you draw this card, add a copy of it into your hand. Finisher is a nice way to end a turn, so we'll go ahead and take that card. Wing Statue. Among the stone and boulders, you notice an intricate, large blue statue resembling a wing. You find gold spilling from its cracks. Maybe there's more inside. So the only options that we have available to us at this time are Prey, which will remove a card from my deck, but I lose 7 health, or to simply leave. There isn't anything I wish to remove at this time, so we'll simply leave. The statue makes you feel uneasy. You walk past and continue onward. Shining Light. You find a shimmering mass of light, encompassing the center of the room. Its warm glow and enchanting patterns invite you in. This time I do have the health to spend, so I will do so. Upgrade 2 random cards. Both of my defends here have been upgraded. As you walk through the light, you notice that the light is absorbed into you. It's scorching hot. However, pain quickly recedes. You feel invigorated, as though you receive a well-deserved slap. We'll go ahead and smith here. Upgrade Finisher so it deals 8 damage for each attack played. I'm going to go ahead and neutralize the back enemy here to reduce his damage. Blessing of the Forge. Upgrade all cards in your hand for the rest of combat. 0 cost card prepared. Draw 1 card and discard 1 card. Another deadly poison. Blade Dance. Add 3 shivs into your hand. Shiv is a 0 cost that deals 4 damage. That plays in well with our current setup. These enemies have an artifact which negates 1 debuff when attempted to be applied. So I'm going to remove that. Are adding into my deck a Dazed card, which is unplayable when drawn. Fan. Every time you play 3 attacks in a single turn, gain 4 block. Quick Slash, deal 8 damage, draw 1 card. And Fletchets, deal 4 damage for each skill in your hand. Quick Slash isn't a bad card to have. Being a 1 cost, it's already stronger than my basic attacks, so we'll go ahead and pick that up. And a chest. Pantograph. At the start of boss combats, heal 25 health. Very significant. We'll go ahead and upgrade Blade Dance here to get 4 shivs instead of 3. Alright, so what do we have? Juzu Bracelet. Normal enemy combats are no longer encountered in question mark rooms. Regal Pillow. When you rest, heal an additional 15 health. And Toolbox. At the start of each combat, choose one of 3 random colorless cards and add the chosen card into your hand. We also have potions here, 6 poison, 3 vulnerable. When you would die, heal 30% of your max health instead and discard this potion. That is a very significant item. I'm going to pick that up. And caltrops. I will go ahead and pick that up as well. Opportunity for another shop here, but given my current money pouch, I don't think it's worth going that way. Almost took him out on the first turn. Stone Calendar. At the end of turn 7, deal 52 damage to all enemies. Strength Potion, gain 2 strength. Phantasmal Killer. Next turn, your attacks deal double damage. And Flying Knee. Deal 8 damage. Next turn, gain 1 mana. That's a tricky one because both Phantasmal Killer and Flying Knee play well into my strategy at the moment. Phantasmal Killer is very situational though. I think I'll go with Flying Knee. Discard any number of cards, then draw them. Another finisher here. Eviscerate. Costs 1 less mana for each card discarded this turn. Deals 7 damage 3 times. I think finisher is the way to go here. You never have too many of those. We're going to get rid of the Gambler's Brew here to pick up the Flex Potion. Gain 5 strength, but at the end of your turn you lose that 5 strength. Expertise. Draw cards until you have 6 in your hand. Poison Stab. Deals 6 damage, apply 3 poison. I'm going to go with another Blade Dance here. we'll go ahead and upgrade it. And for the first boss. Block all of it, but blocked at least half. With stone calendar. Alright, so Malice, enemy loses X strength, apply X weak. X being the amount of mana that you choose to spend on the card. Unload, deal 14 damage, discard all non-attack cards in your hand. And After Image, a power. Whenever you play a card, gain 1 block. That would actually help out significantly, given my current playstyle. Gain 1 mana at the start of your turn, you can no longer see enemy intents. That's a tricky one. Wristblade, attacks that cost 0 deal 4 additional damage. That is perfect for my current playthrough. Gain 1 mana at the start of your turn, you can no longer obtain potions. I think we're going to go with Wristblade here. Act 2. There's a shop midway up. Let's start off with After Image here. And Blade Dance. Dagger Spray. Deals 6 damage to all enemies. Twice. Caltrops. Could get another set of Caltrops. I think I will in this instance. Flying enemies. You have to hit them at least 3 times before you can do any significant damage to them. Skill Potion. Choose one of 3 random skill cards to add to your hand. It costs 0 this turn. I'm going to skip that this time around. Gain 5 block. Block is not removed at the start of your next turn. Don't really have a need for any of those. The Nest. A long line of hooded figures can be seen entering an unassuming cathedral. Naturally, you join in the line and are quickly surrounded by cultists. They ignore you as they gleefully chant and wave their weapons around. Murder, murder, murder. Caw, caw, caw. You eye a donation box. Smash and grab, obtain 99 gold. Stay in line and obtain a ritual dagger, a 1-cost card that deals 15 damage. If fatal, it permanently increases the card's damage by 3. That is worth losing 6 health for, in my opinion. You decide to stay in line, out of fear, to see what will happen. Eventually, you are face to face with the leader. A well-dressed cultist hands you an ornate dagger. Like the others before you, you slash your forearm and let blood drip into a misshapen bowl. The cultists chant and holler for you. Caw, caw, caw. You chant too. Why not? The library. You come across an ornate building which appears abandoned. A plaque that had been torn free from the wall is on the floor. It reads, "The Library." Inside, you find countless rows of scrolls, manuscripts, and books. You pick one and cozy yourself into a chair for some quiet time. 2 options here. Choose one of 20 cards to add to your deck, or heal 25 health. Given that our health is almost maxed, I'm going to go with the first option. Blade Dance, as well as Infinite Blades. At the start of your turn, add a shiv into your hand. Outmaneuver is also nice, gain 2 mana next turn. I'll go ahead and pick that up. The story is about an insect-controlling teenage girl who aspires to become a hero. The book is filled with creative uses of powers, combat strategies, and varying perspectives. Satisfying. Let's stop into the shop and see what's available. Upon pickup, upgrade 2 random attacks. Or, when viewing your draw pile, the cards are now shown in order. Based on what I'm seeing available here, I'm going to go ahead and get the whetstone. And might as well pick up alchemize. Upgraded, it would now cost 0. Or I could upgrade infinite blades to make it start in my hand. That's what I'm gonna do. First tome. In an abandoned temple, you find a giant book, open, riddled with cryptic writings. As you try to interpret the elaborate script, it begins to shift and morph into writing you are familiar with. You can either read or leave. I'm going to go ahead and read this book. Odd, the book seems to be about an ancient named Niao. This piques your interest, but you have a general feeling of malice. Lose 1 health. The Ancient of Resurrection, Niao, was exiled at the bottom of the Spire. You feel compelled to read more, but your body begins to ache. Lose 2 health. Seeking vengeance, Niao blesses outsiders, using them for her own purposes. You are starting to feel very weak and tired. Lose 3 health. Those resurrected by Niao remember only fragments of their past selves, cursed to fight for eternity. As you near the final page, your old wounds begin to reopen. Go ahead and obtain the book. The first attack played each turn that costs 2 or more is played twice. Upon finishing the tome, you decide to take it with you. With proof in hand, will you retain your memories? We don't have any money, so there's no point in going to the shop. Let's continue to the next question mark. Vampires. Navigating an unlit street, you come across several hooded figures in the midst of some dark ritual. As you approach, they turn to you in eerie unison. The tallest among them bears fanged teeth and extends a long, pale hand towards you. Join us, sister, and feel the warmth of the Spire. We're going to refuse, because I do not want to lose 24 max health. You step back and raise your weapon in defiance. The tall figure sighs. Very well. The entire group of hooded figures morph into a thick black fog that flows away from you. You are alone once more. Alright, what's in the chest? Ancient tea set. Whenever you enter a rest site, start the next combat with 2 mana. And look at that, a rest site. I'll go ahead and upgrade my ritual dagger here to increase its damage upgrade by 5 when it's used on an enemy. Let's start off with After Image. and then infinite blaze. Not going to be enough to block all of the damage, but a significant amount of it. Play Ritual Dagger here. This will permanently increase its damage by 5. Cool. Alchemize to get the potion. 3 weak. Their flying knee couldn't hurt. I don't have much in the way of gold, so I don't mind giving it to them. Hey Bear, hey! This guy gave us all his gold. What a sucker, right? Get this, I just had to ask nicely. Who knew? I certainly didn't. What a chump. Gang, let's all have a laugh for this wondrous occasion. Ha ha ha. Almost took out all of his armor. Terror. Apply 99 vulnerable. I'm gonna hold off on taking any unnecessary cards. My deck is already approaching 30. Let's be cautious. Dilled Chaos. Play the top 3 cards of your draw pile. That might come in handy later. Noxious Fumes. At the start of your turn, apply 2 poison to all enemies. Small minions suck because they have an ability that allows them to take one of your cards for the duration of the combat. Distilled Chaos here. I try to reply to him. Not worry about damage this time. die. Deal 13 damage to all enemies. 1,000 cuts. Whenever you play a card, deal 1 damage to all enemies. And Doppelganger. Next turn, draw X cards and gain X mana. I'm going to go with 1,000 cuts here, because it plays in well with my 0-cost cards. Coffee Dripper. Gain 1 mana at the start of your turn, but you can no longer rest at rest sites. Not very beneficial for me. Gain 1 mana at the start of your turn, you can no longer smith at rest sites. Replaces Ring of the Snake. At the start of your turn, draw 1 additional card. So instead of drawing 2, I would then draw 3 at the start. Oh no. This is saying, instead of 2 at the start of combat, I would draw 1 every turn. That is definitely the upgrade we need. Enemy in the front will explode after 3 turns, dealing 30 damage. Enemy in the back has thorns, so I will receive 3 damage when I attack him. Unfortunately, I'll have to take a little bit of damage this turn. It's unavoidable. Acrobatics. Draw 4 cards and discard 1. Pick up Backstab here. Starts out in your hand, costs nothing, and deals 11 damage. Transmogrifier. Before you lies an elaborate shrine to a forgotten spirit. You can transform a card in your deck. Sure, we'll go ahead and transform a strike. Apply 3 poison to an enemy 3 times. As the power of the shrine flows through you, your mind feels altered. Start each combat with 10 block. This turn, your next card is played twice. Could be very beneficial. I'm gonna go with Infinite Blades here, and a Duplication Potion. damage and apply 4 poison. Heal back to 48. Meal ticket. Whenever you enter a shop, heal 15 health. Which is nice because we are about to enter a shop. So I'll go ahead and smith here. Go ahead and upgrade after image so it starts in my turn, in my hand at the start of my first turn. Don't really have money for anything at the moment, so we'll continue. Changes his intent every time he's struck. Riddle with holes. Deal 3 damage 5 times. A chop. Nothing I really need here. I am avoiding the mini-bosses on the 3rd floor just due to their level of difficulty and the unnecessary to fighting them. Build up a little bit of defense here, seeing as how much damage he's about to do. But with my frail, weakened state at the moment, I can't put much of a defense against it. Potions here. Set ourselves up for the next turn. Finish from there. There's perfect. I should probably heal here, seeing that this is the last boss fight. Insane right here. Will be enough to keep up with this damage. Success. Thump, thump, thump. A deep pulsing dread can be felt throughout the room. Is this the heart of the spire? The source of this evil? You prepare your daggers. Attack. You deal 632 damage. The heart squirms and bleeds, but is ultimately still pounding. Are your mightiest attacks not enough? You ask yourself, have I been here before? You feel that you've dealt a total of 8,860 damage to the heart. A total of 14,636,643,707 damage has been dealt by all who have challenged it. The heart pulses louder and louder as your consciousness fades. Victory? Question mark? Ascension unlocked. We've unlocked some new cards here. Bane deals 7 damage. If the enemy has poison, deals 7 damage again. Catalyst, double the enemy's poison. And Corpse Explosion, apply 6 poison. When an enemy dies, deal damage equal to its max health to all enemies. And we've unlocked yet another character. Alright friends, that'll be all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, or follow if you're watching from Twitch. And I will see you in the next one.